Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Yeah. Yeah, just had to get y'all a good update of the pups. I know everybody been wondering on how they coming along and how they doing. So there's a good update video today for y'all. And today we're gonna call this video growth, you know what I mean? Like I said, because I want to just kind of just pretty much speak on, like I said, just growing and elevating and the levels of growing and elevating that you go through out here up in life, you know what I mean? Because I can just vividly remember, like I said, I woke up this morning thinking a lot, like I wanted to get this video out to y'all, because I was just thinking like where I came from with these dogs, you know what I mean? Because I done had so many ups and downs with these dogs. I remember, like I said, just a while back, like I said, I was just staying, you know what I mean, in this house over in Shreveport, you know what I mean? Like, old house, not too much of a nothing, you know what I mean? And not having nothing, but I had my dogs in the back. Ended up have to move out, like I said, which I done moved out plenty of times where I had to start over again. When I just say plenty a few times where I had to start over again to get rid of my dogs, you know. And I'm just so thankful, like I said, to the days, you know, that I'm actually established enough to be able to, like I said, to actually come, you know what I mean, shake back from all them, you know what I mean, bad days and just actually be able to be the one I'm at right now. Cause like, you just don't realize, like I said, the journey. A lot of people just, well, you don't realize how much, like I said, stuff I done been through. A lot of people don't realize how much stuff I done been through to get to where I'm at. You know what I mean? And I really don't care for people to realize, but I realize, and that made me, like I said, just more grateful than anything to be able to continue to do these dogs for one. Like I said, and for two, like I said, continue to push messages out to keep people going, and keep people motivated, and knowing, like I said, get better. You know, all you gotta do is stay motivated, keep on grinding, don't give up. Like I said, times be hard, and if you got a love for these dogs, it make it a lot easier to sit back and actually do this. You know, like I said, because you, even when it's get hard, you still want to continue to go and continue to do what you got to. Like I said, get where you're trying to go, like I said, and continue to try to, like I said, the better this breed. Because like I said, I love these dogs in general, because these dogs are my peace, man. Very, very beautiful pups. You know what I mean? That light hit off so good. You see that try and that blue burner so far on these pups. I mean, like, these are some very beautiful dogs. I mean, I done had so many people reach out to me want to get these dogs. So many people. I don't know if it's just times are hard, which I know times are hard. I got one of these girls going off to South Carolina this week though. This girl right here. But like I said, a lot of people and I got a lot of people for to be coming through later on this week once they get paid and get one as well. So like I said, I don't know, but you know, until the deposit locked in, everything's still up for grabs. You know, like I'm right now still doing a $300 deposit, $1,400 for these males, which is insane. You know, I'm showing love, but it's so much. It's such love that I'm showing. Cause look at the quality of these dogs. You know what I mean? Very, very beautiful dogs. Very, very beautiful dogs. You know. But like I wanted to just speak to where I came from. Like I said, I had a lot of rainy days, you know, and I'm still here growing, still, like I said, pushing peace, you know what I mean, pushing positive, man, a positive message, like I said, 'cause I thank God for the outcome, even though, like I said, I still got a lot of stuff that it still troubles me and just way deep on me when I think back to the past, or like I said, just people I done lost through the times, you know what I mean? I thank God, like I said, for me still being here and be able to do this, you know. Like I said, because this is a blessing all in itself. But like I said, I done finally got this cage put together and everything. Like I said, got this other piece on this cage. I done made it a 4-way cage. We're going to walk around. I'm going to show y'all the other set of pups. But like I said, I done turned it to a 4-way cage now, so now I got more than enough room to sit back and work with my dogs and do what I want to with them and everything. This the back end where they come out, like I said, just to peep and do their little, see what I got going on. But yeah, I done add another, I done put it back together, you know what I mean? My uncle came through and helped me. We done got it back up and running, and we ready to roll. Like I said, this my Bloody Mary and Dino Bishop. I mean, my Bloody Mary and Dino breed, you know. Man, very, very nice pups, man. Looking very, very good. I'm finna start posting them today. I mean, I got 7 bars. I think eight bars, and 7 bars and 1 girl available. But man, very, very nice bulldogs. Come from me, like I said, which is which I'll give myself credit. I'm a dog, man. I'm a hellified dog, man. You know what I mean? When when you looking for a pup, like I said, I think that's one thing you need to look at more than the dogs to me sometimes. You know what I mean? You want to make sure definitely they producing good dogs, but you want to make sure the dog, man, is a real dog, man, and not just breeding no bull crap. Like I said, instead of, you know what I mean, switching the blood up, instead of just breeding anything, like I said, not doing what you're breeding into, which I'm going to touch on the second part in this video later on about, like I said, breeding these bullets, you know what I mean? See, because these game dogs and bullets, they similar. You want to continue to make sure you stand counter with a good consistent bloodline and not just all over the place, because you're going to start just, you know what I mean, seeing different traits in these dogs that you wonder where it's coming from, and you can never track it because you're all over the place doing your breedings, you know. But like I said, this is just the Bloody Mary Dino breed. I just want to get the camera on them real quick. Yeah. But I'm so glad, like I said, that I got this pen, man, like I said, for them and everything, because this is what I needed. This is my other side. This is my other babies, man. Hey, babies. They done start messing up a little bit already. I just sprayed this pen. I mean, the either jugger work me like a dog. Hey, where y'all at? Y'all say hey to the camera. Say hey to the camera. Yeah, you can't really see they markers unless they was in the sun over there, because you get a good angle. But these are some very beautiful, colorful pups as well. Like I said, very, very nice. Very very nice. I mean, like I said, you can't put 2 dogs together and just expect for no blood to work. You gotta know, like I said, how the blood work. You gotta make sure the blood is producing, and like I said, and both of these bloods is proven bloods that I know produce. That's why, like I said, these pups are next level, high caliber, very, very beautiful pups. Very, very outstanding pups. I'm very, very proud of these pups. You know what I mean? I got 2 of them in the back over there. They ain't trying to show their face. You know what I mean? But like I said, I know times are hard. Like I said, that's why I got the price out the way they is. Like I said, because I'm not trying to bust people's heads, because I respect, like I said, everybody, like I said, lifestyle. I know people got a lot going on and trying to pay a whole lot of money for a dog. I know that's not what people trying to do, but at the same time, you got to put some respect behind my name as a breeder as well. So the price going to be what they at, you know what I mean? And they very, very fair prices, you know what I mean? Like I say, these are very, very quality investment dogs, you know what I mean? That, like I said, that's worth every penny. Yeah, but this the add-on that I put to this. To this, like I said, we got this together. It went, like I said, just some stuff like I said, we put together with some tin we had laid around. Like I said, top real steady. Like I said, you know what I mean, got a drain we can run off and everything. Like I said, it's a lot of scrap on it. I could have cut it down a little bit more, but I just put it together, and I guarantee, like I said, it gonna weather the storm. You know what I mean? I just didn't feel like putting a whole lot of extra work. But this the other end. I mean, these the other pups off the Bloody Mary, and like I said, and Dino breed. Very, very nice bulldogs. I mean, very, very high caliber. Like I said, dogs. I mean, just nice looking animals, man. Nice looking animals. Nice structures up on them. I mean, they got I say these dogs, they take a lot out the Bishop, you know what I mean? They got that McCollum look to them, you know. Like I said, real terror look in their face, you know what I mean? Real small frame. I'm not thinking these dogs gonna be no more than probably about 35, 40-pound dogs at the most, you know what I mean? I don't think they're gonna be too big of a dog just because how they, you know what I mean, the little small frames they got. But very, very pretty dogs, you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm doing, like I said, a $400 lock-in up on these dogs. I do $300, but between $300 and $400 lock-in on these dogs, you know what I mean? Hit me up, like I said, Facebook, Instagram, or 318-946-5277 to get in touch with me. Yeah, I've been putting new stock up on it and kind of divide them out, like I said, because you can see with the tails and everything. Some of them got some little spicks up on them, like I said, just from being in the pen together and just walking over all that crap and it getting stuck to them, because it'll break their fur out real quick and everything. But then some little new stock won't care. You know, I'll get that out the way and take care of that, and it ain't no problem at all. You know what I mean? Yeah. But man, I just right back to what I was saying. I'm just so happy to be where I'm at, like I said, and to be able to just continue this, man. Continue to raise my dogs. Continue to, like I said, to run this business. You know what I mean. Continue to give good knowledge out here to people, just to have a voice. Period. You know, like because I done came from a lot just to be where I'm at today, and I'm very, very proud of myself. You know, cause like, you know, some people don't get this opportunity. You know. And like I said, and some people don't get a chance even to make it. And just to be able to be alive, smelling the fresh air, being able, like I said, to do what I do, man, is more than a blessing to me. And like I said, it's just the first part of this video. Like I said, if you're grinding and you're doing whatever you're trying to do to get up, many dogs or whatever, man, don't give up. I'm telling you, it's all gonna pay off. It's all gonna pay off. Like I said, I done got a long lot of sleepless nights. I'm talking sleeping in I remember nights I was sleeping in my car, didn't have nothing at all to, you know, to where I'm at today, to even not even having a car, you know what I mean, to having multiple vehicles, doing good for myself, like I said, handling my business like I supposed to out here. There's no better feeling than that, you know what I mean? Like I said, making sure you're making a way for your kids, taking care of your family. Like I said, making sure all your loved ones around you good, you know what I mean? There's no better feeling than that. And that's why I continue to grind the way I do and won't never get us up, you know, because like I said, it's more than just, like I said, these dogs to me. You know, I love these dogs with a dear passion, you know what I mean? This is everything. I mean, I'm all about building this breed to the max, you know, but to be over here, like I said, to shed light up on these dogs, to shed light up on my situation and people that could be going through anything more than anything. It's more than, like I said, I can ever ask, like I said. And I'm just grateful to be able to do it, you know what I mean? Like I said, we're going to get the second part of this video. We'll be back. Yeah, we back at it. Man, I'm out here dealing with these little rut rats. Like I said. Hey, but this is what I want to talk about earlier. Y'all come here. Yeah, I wanted to, man, I was trying to get out earlier is, man, you just can't think just because you got two good looking dogs, you're going to get good dogs. You got to know how to breed. You got to know what to take back into what, like I said, to get a good bloodline. And that's why it's more better to work with a family of dogs instead of just buying all these different random dogs and breeding and thinking just because, like I said, you know, I mean, or just breeding and thinking you're going to get good results. Like I said, just because you got a good stud or a good female to take, like I said, the dogs back too. You know, like I said, I don't really even advise breeding outside my yard. Well, I would not breed outside my yard. Though I brought what I needed. Like I said, if you're going to get you a yard, like I said, pretty much study the breeder, buy nice quality dogs, like I said, and then sit back and have those nice dogs to work with and run your program off for. Doing all these random, trying to buy into big names just because the name trending, just because the dog look good, that's not how you create, like I said, nice next level dogs. Like I said, you'll get, like I said, probably a couple, every now and then you probably hit a hit or miss, like I said, where you probably do get a good litter off a trending stud or something like that. But it doesn't mean that that dog is going to continue to produce, like I said, because different bloods, like I said, work, like I said, different bloods, like they mix in and work. You get different results from different bloods. That's what I'm trying to say. Like you ain't gonna always, like I said, get the same caliber pups every time you take a stud back to you know what I mean, a random female. So like that's why I like trying to stay on my yard and work with what I got. Like I said, because I already know what caliber dogs my dogs produce, and I know, like I said, what to expect out of my dogs. You know, I'm not trying to be breeding and to some other random dog, and I don't know the flaws this dog carry, and I start getting like reindeer looking pups, you know what I mean, and start getting just bull crap looking dogs anyway, you know what I mean, dogs that ain't even worried enough to even continue to breed, and now you just stuck with a yard full of dogs trying to work and make them do something, but like I said, they ain't even worth even continuing to run the bloodline with. I always try to pretty much stay consistent in your yard. Like I said, you know some blood's working. Like I said, continue to work with that blood and just don't be all over the place. Like, because that's where you start, like I said, kind of messing up in these dogs, you know what I mean? A lot of people think you can just buy into this game. No, you got to actually know how to produce. You got to actually know, like I said, what to take, but what to get, like I said, nice dogs. Like I said, it's not easy as 1, 2, 3. I just been in this game a long time, you know what I mean? And I didn't have to learn along the way, but like I said, I know, like I said, when I got a eye for good dogs, and I sit back and I watch these dogs, and I watch, like I said, breeders or anybody else, like I said, just dealing with these dogs before I buy a dog, which I'm not ever buying a dog again, because, you know, I got what I need right now. I ain't got to ever breed outside my yard, because I can take whatever I got on my yard and breed back and still get the caliber dogs that I'm looking for and going for. You know what I mean? It's hard to top these caliber, and if you want to top what you got to continue to breed up on a line that you already seeing good results from. Like I said, see, I'm going to take Banks back, like I said, to Miracle, and breed that pup back to Big Ben, like I said, and that's probably I mean, I don't know how you're going to be able to top that. Banks, this little right here hard to top as it is, you know what I mean? But like I said, I can continue to upgrade this blood just by breeding back into what I got, because like I said, that's how you get better dogs. Same way with game dogs, you know what I mean? You want a strong line, you want to kind of line breed, like I said, to something that's already good to keep the blood strong or make it even better. Same way with these bullets. If you got a good bloodline that's running, then you know what I mean, they're producing, you want to continue to stay with that good bloodline, breed back into, you know what I mean, breed into that same bloodline, but you can't, like I said, you gotta make sure it's producing blood, like I said, because everything not producing. Just because, you know, they might look good at pups don't mean they're gonna look good at older dogs. You know what I mean? I'd rather have some pups, you know what I mean, they kind of started off late and turned to nice dogs like the ones off of Tank and Star, you know what I mean, to just, you know what I mean, have pretty looking pups that turn out to look like bull crap once they get older. You know, like that's just me personally, you know what I mean? Because I'm all about trusting in the blood long as I know the blood is there. And like I said, with what I got, like I said, with Star, Miracle, and Yoda, all my bullets and micros, even my game dogs, I know the blood there. That's why you'll never catch me breeding outside my yard. Yeah. But man, that's just pretty much all I want to touch down upon, man. Like I said, these pups are looking very, very good. They bad as ever. Y'all come on. Y'all come on. Yeah. They bad and they stay up on their bull crap. But look how they get around. Look how girthy they is. Look how small they still is. I'm talking small and thick and very, very nice. You know what I mean? I can't drop the price on these dogs because I know what I got. 3,500, you know what I mean? Like I said, I could be asking easy 5,000 or 6,000 for the caliber dogs these is. And I love. And I already know they gonna produce their butts off, because I already know what the blood is. As long as you ain't breeding back to no bull crap. You know what I mean? If I was somebody interested in getting a pup, like I said, off one of these pups, I'd buy one of these pups, and then, like I said, wait till I do a breeding back with Banks again to either one of them females I just named and give me a pup off that, and that'll be your pair. You know what I mean? Because I already know this blood doing what it's supposed to. It might be black, but I'm telling you, black do not stop a thing. Do not stop a thing. As long as you know how to breed. Like I said, you just can't be breeding over anything. And just because the dog look good, don't think you're just going to get you a nice little pup. Because if you don't know how that blood works, you don't know the ins and outs of the blood, you just pretty much, like I said, rolling the dice, hoping you get something good. Yeah. What y'all doing, babies? They stay at it. I mean, this boy's so thick. I got him on the diet right now. Come on, big man. Yeah. But I hope everybody, like I said, being blessed, man. If you doing these dogs, make sure you loving these dogs. Make sure you love what you're doing, like I said, because that make it all worth the while. I don't look at it like, you know what I mean, like a quick cash out, like a get rich scheme. Like I said, that's why I had to sit back and correct myself on plenty of time and realize why I did it, because I love these dogs. I love the breed. I want to sit back and make the breed better. I want to give knowledge out for people who breed these dogs to continue to make the blood better. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to sit back and make these have no black eye on the breed, and people looking at these dogs like, what is you breeding them for? I want people to look at them and admire them and realize the worth in them and know they are actually good dogs. Even the micros, people they got a bad name. People say they can't breed and move around. That's why I bred my own micros. Like I said, to change the narrative on this stuff, you know what I mean? So you can see clear as day. Micros, nanos, they do get around. They move just like any other dogs, you know what I mean? Like I said, you just gotta breed them right. Yeah. But we out. Y'all stay blessed. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for all the new subscribers. Thanks for all the people who've been rocking with me. Y'all take care. We out.